Linux application programming, session 18, text processing with Awk. The agenda of the session is an introduction to Awk, simple Awk scripting, complex applications in Awk, conditional and looping constructs in Awk, and built-in functions in Awk. This is what you will learn. So what will be the takeaway in one line? If you ask me, I don't know anything about Awk. I don't know what this command is all about. By the end of the session, you should be able to implement and use this for your flat file data processing. Yes, you heard it right. Flat file data processing. Like if you have a flat file which have employee details along with the salaries, and then can perform whatever you want. Conditional, calculations, average salary, total salary, department wise salary, whatever operations you can perform on a flat file data using a normal database, you can do that with Awk. It gives you all that flexibility. So it is a programming language for handling data manipulation tasks with few lines of program. It's a pattern action language. Yes, that's an important point here. Pattern action. So you specify a pattern and you decide what action you want to take. The language looks like C, but automatically handles input, field splitting, initialization, and memory management. Built-in string and number data types, no variable type declaration required for this. Awk is great prototyping language. Start with few lines and then keep adding until it does what you want it to do. So it's a good to build. So you can say you make your program evolve, make your application evolve as you start, the way we do it in shell scripting. Very short history about Awk. The first version of Awk was released in 1977 by Alfred Aho, Peter Weinberger, and Brian Kernighan. So if you look at AWK, the name came from these three guys. Its first integration was into version 7 AT&T UNIX. Awk has gone through a variety of changes in its life. Its syntax and notation borrow both from shell scripting and C language. The structure of an Awk program is begin, end, but this is not the typical what you think that it might be, that begin of a loop, begin of the body of a program, end of the body. No, it is not that. It is begin section will have what you want to do before, and end section will have what you want to do after the entire line, entire file is processed. So you write after end, it's not before end. So after end you write what you want to do after the processing is done, and begin means what you want to do before the processing is started, and in between you write your pattern and action. Pattern, action, pattern, action. You continue writing it. When you are done, you write the end section. That is the summary part of the report. It's a great language to create report from flat file database. So this is the concept of this. Now, an Awk program consists of an optional begin segment. Means it is not mandatory to have begin section for processing to execute prior to reading input. Pattern action pairs, which is mandatory, which is the actual Awk program or the command or the script, which processing for the processing of input data. For each pattern you have to have a corresponding action. And optional end segment, what you want to do after the input data is processed. So begin is optional, end is optional, in between you write your pattern action. So you start like this, Awk, within kernel braces you write begin, and after that you write your pattern action, and then after end also you write your end section. So these begin and end are optional. What is mandatory is only this much. So optional begin, optional end, in between pattern action. So what is our focus area is first part is this pattern action. So the pattern action structure we need to understand. Every program statement has to have a pattern, an action, or both. Default pattern is to match all lines. Default action is to print current record. Patterns are simply listed and actions are enclosed in braces, because you may have multiple actions on the same pattern. Awk scans a sequence of input lines or records one by one, searching for the lines that match the pattern, similar to SED. Meaning of match depends on the pattern. Like Beth matches if the string Beth is in the record. $3 greater than 0 means if the third field is greater than 0, that is mathematical expression. Running an awk program. There are several ways to run an awk program. You can simply write awk followed by your program, actual program in your single quotes, and the files on which you want to run it. Program and input files are provided at command line arguments. Then we have another option, awk program. Program is a command line argument. Input is taken from the standard input. So we are not providing the file name. And finally, the third option is used comprehensively, awk-f, the program file where your actual program, awk program, is written, and then name of the input file on which you want to process this file. Program is read from the file. Error handling. If you make an error, awk will provide a diagnostic error message. Like if you write awk $3 equals to 0, and you, instead of writing a curly braces, you write square bracket and you write a file name. Awk syntax error near line 1, bailing out near line 1. So there is some hint that there is some problem in your line 1 of your program. Or if you are using an awk, which is new awk, which is updated, you will get a little more comprehensive details about the same error message. Syntax error at source line 1, context is this, and this is something where something is wrong, and one extra curly braces is there. There's something wrong with this, bailing out at line 1. So the error is actually notified that there is something wrong somewhere about these characters. So that will give you meaningful error message. There are some of the built-in variables in awk which we use for processing, for manipulation of the data. The NF variable specifies the number of fields in the current record, total number of fields. NR specify the number of records read so far for calculation of summary or conditional sum or what. Like you are kind of loop, you can say number of records one by one, you can compare and you can proceed. Once the number of records or number of data read in terms of numbers, how many records you wanted to read. $0 means the entire line. $n is the field number n, field number 1, $1, field number 2, $2 in the current line. I repeat because it is for data processing, flat file data working processing file script. $NF, last field of the current record. Simple output from awk. Printing every line. You have the program missiles.txt in your session 18 directory. If an action has no pattern, the action will be performed for all the lines, all the input lines. Like print will print all input lines on standard output, or print $0 will do the same thing, because you are typing $0, which actually signify the entire line. So this is the sample program awk, and we are typing a string to match, and we are typing print command. So missiles.txt, so it will print the line that matches this word Thor. So these are actually the missiles in US, and this is taken from a website. So this is the data about the Thor missiles from the file. Now if you don't write anything, this is the second example which is referring here. You simply write print, no pattern, you are writing print. So missiles.txt, so it will print all the lines, all the lines in the file. So these are all the lines in the file. You will understand why there is so much of data here and what these signify. These actually signify the loads and other aspects of a missile, range and load and speed. All these things are these are the parameters. So we will be doing some processing on these files using awk. Printing certain fields. Multiple items can be printed on the same output line with a single print statement. Expression separated by comma are by default separated by a single space when output. Like if you type this awk -f, that is field separator is colon, and you specify Thor print field number 1 colon field number 5. So you will expect field number 1, which is this. So you will expect this value, this value Thor, and field number 5. So which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this value. So we will expect the value, these two values in the output of this line. So this is what you are expecting. 5, field number 5, 10099993. This is wrong. See here. This is 3, field number 3 is not 5. So it is not matching with the command printed in the slide and actual output, the command I used. This is field number 3. That's good. So field number 1, 2 and 3. So third field is this. That's fine. Simple output from awk. NF specifies the number of fields. Any valid expression can be used after $sign to indicate the particular field number. One built-in expression is NF that will specify the number of fields. Like if you type NF $1 $NF, so it will specify number of fields. So what all fields you have, all those fields will be numbers will be displayed. Number, if you specify $1, this will specify the field number 1. So we'll print the number of fields, the first field and the last field in the current record. Computing and printing. You can also do some computations on the field values and include the results in your output. This is what it makes it much more powerful. Print $1 and $2 multiplied by $3. So means the first column will be printed and the product of second and third column will be printed. Printing line numbers. The built-in variable nr can be used to print the line numbers. Like print nr $0 will print each line prefixed with its line number. Printing text in the output, that will make it more you can say user friendly, that you want to display the content with some messages, so that you can add. So whatever you add, you can put that in double quotes. So print total pay for field number 1 is field number 2 multiplied by field number 3. If you notice, it is so easy to handle the output and formatted output for the purpose of user friendly. You can also add other text to the output beside what is in the current record. Note that inserted text needs to be surrounded by double quotes. Fancier output, you want a little beautiful output, and the same table, same file, missiles.txt, but look what it is doing. It is using tabulate.awk file, which I have created for this purpose, for scripting purpose, and that is a bit of complex example to understand. What you are seeing here is with proper heading, name, length, range, speed, weight, and then name of the missiles and the totals, and these are the totals printed. So it is displaying a formatted data from the same text file. Like C, Awk has a printf function for producing formatted output. Printf has the format form printf format value 1, value 2, value 3, and so on and so forth. For example, total pay for this is this value, and now you are specifying the field name for the substitution. Similar to C language, if you see, you can safely say that yes, it is borrowed from C language. It's nothing. It is precisely the same printf function the way we use it in C language. When using printf, formatting is under your control, so no automatic spaces or new lines are provided by awk. You have to insert them yourself like /n. This session, this example script will make the concept more clear. Tabulate.awk in your directory. Awk as a filter. Since awk is a filter, you can also use pipes with the other filters to message its output even further. Suppose you want to print the data for each employee along with their pay and have it sorted in order of increasing pay. So awk printf 6 decimal places, 6 position plus 2 positions after the decimal %s. So this is field number 2 multiplied by field number 3 for salary and field number 0 for the name of the employee from employee.data and sort it. So this can be used in filters. This make it much more powerful that you can use it in the command line and you can display, you can use it in the pipes as well. Selection. Awk patterns are good for selecting specific lines from the input for further processing. Like selection by comparison, you can use operators greater than, equal to, less than, equal to. So for example, you are saying here field number 2 greater than, equal to 5, then print it. So you are performing the operation based on a condition. Selection by computation, like field number 2 multiplied by field number 3 greater than 50, then do this. Or selection by text content, field number 1 is Suzy, and then you are performing it based on the search pattern. So if you notice, this is much more powerful than SED, where it gives you expressions, conditionals, and computations and comparisons and strings and patterns. So this makes it much more powerful compared to SED when you comes to performance, for calculations and comparisons and expressions. Combinations of patterns can also be used, like this $2 greater than, equal to 4, that means field number 2 greater than, equal to 4, and $3 greater than, equal to 20. So you can have multiple patterns can also be combined here. And this is example. In our case, we are using awk-f field number 5 greater than 12,000, print $1 in the missiles.txt. So it will display only those missiles which have greater than 12,000 in field number 5. Data validation. Validating data is a common operation. Awk is excellent for data validation, like NF not equal to 3. printf 0 number of fields is not equal to 3. $2 less than 3.35. Print $0 rate is below minimum wage. $2, that is field number 2 greater than 10, field number 3 less than 0, field number 3 greater than 60. So you have these expressions, and data validation is excellent, can be excellently done in Awk when you are working with Awk. Now the begin and end section. Special pattern begin matches before the first input line is read and matches after the last line has been read, which means it is good for titles or headings and summaries. This allows for initial and wrap-up processing, like you are printing the headings, name, rate, hours, and then this is your action pattern, and then end, total number of employees is NR. So this make it actual beautiful processing language for flat file, where you are printing the headings, generating report by putting headings, and then summary, and then page summary, record, page summary, group summaries, and overall totals, with all these features available in Awk. Computing with Awk. Counting is very easy to do with Awk, like 3 greater than 15. So emp is equal to m plus 1. And printf employee worked more than 15 hours. So this is what you are doing. We are conditionally executing. This is a variable, we are incrementing it, and we are conditionally incrementing it for those employees who have worked for more than 15 hours, more than 15 hours. Computing sums and average is also simple. Pay, for example, pay equals to pay plus $2, field number 2 multiplied by field number 3. Then print, in the end section, print NR, employees, total pay is this and average pay is this, pay divided by NR, that is number of records. So this was again highlighting that power of Awk, that printing summary reports after all the records are processed is handled gracefully in Awk. One major advantage of Awk is its ability to handle strings as easily as many other languages handle numbers. Awk variables can hold strings of characters as well as numbers, and Awk conveniently translate back and forth as needed. This program finds the employees who is paid the most per hour, like $2 greater than max rate. This is a condition, or this is the pattern. Max rate equal to 2, max employee is number 1, that is field number 1, max rate is number 2. And then at the end we are printing highest hourly rate is max rate for this employee. So actually what we are getting is, it will process all the records, and whichever is highest, whichever get the highest value, it is because it is comparing every record with this initial value. So whichever is highest, that will be there in these variables. In the end you are printing the records as a summary of the report. String concatenation. New string can be created by combining old ones, like names equals names $1 and then space. So what it is doing, it is comparing, it is putting that and print names. So it is combining the fields with space. Printing the last input line. Although NR, number of records, retain its value after the last input line has been read, $0, that is the entire line, does not retain its value. Like if you type last $0, so if you try to print the last, because you are capturing the value of $0, then you will be able to print it. But NR will retain the value, but this $0 will not retain the value because it is written before end. Self-explanatory, because it's processing the records one by one. So you can expect the value of $0 as long as the processing is going on. So if you want to display it in the last, Then you have to capture this in a special variable, in any other variable, and then you have to print the value of that variable. Then we have some built-in functions in awk. Awk contains a number of built-in functions. For example, length, counting lines, words and characters using length, like as a simple calculator. So NC equal to NC plus length, NW number of words, NF. So this will print the lines, words and characters. So this way you can use, these are the functions actually. NC is a function, NC plus length, length is also a function, right? Arithmetic, sine, cos, tangent, expressions, integer, logs, random numbers, square root, all these functions are available. For string we have length, substitution, find, substring, split strings. These functions are available for this, all these operations. Then output we have print, printf, and then printf for the file. And there are special functions like execute a Unix command, for example system clear, so it will clear the screen. Note double quotes around the Unix command. Exit will stop reading the input and go immediately to the end pattern action pair if it exists, otherwise it will exit the script. Then we have the control flow statements. Awk provides several control flow statements for making decisions and writing loops. By now I am sure you have visualized that we are talking about some flat file database. We want to perform calculations or summaries or conditional calculations or repetitions. We want to process the records based on condition using loops and then displaying the summaries. So this requires the loop also. Awk provides several control flow statements making decisions and writing the loops. For example, we have if else statement. Like here, if n is greater than 0, employees total pay is this, average pay is this, else no employees are paid more than $6 hour, because we are calculating here $2 greater than 6, and then we are incrementing this value n and we are storing the value of pay into this, right? So that makes a simple if condition, but we are processing it after capturing the details into variables and then displaying the summary according to the values in the variable. Loop controls. While loop we have, for example, I equals to 1, while I is greater than equal to less than equal to third field, then printf, and we are doing some calculations, and I is equal to I plus 1. So this is again interesting loop control in awk. We also have for loop, exactly same loop as in C language. For I equals to 1, I less than $3, and I equals to I plus 1, and rest of the statement is quite simple to understand because it is more of nothing more than a C language statement, printf statement if you know C. So this is what we have, the for loop in awk. Arrays. Awk provides arrays for storing group of related data values. For example, this is a comment line, reverse print input in reverse order by line. Line NR is $0. Remember each line, and then printing the record. So we are capturing all the lines into an array, because you note that the values of $1, $2 or these special variables are no more persist the moment you cross the end section. In order to keep the lines, keep the data, you have to use variables, and this is declaring a array, putting all the records one by one into this array. Now you are processing it. I equals to NR, and we are decrementing I and printing line in reverse order. As long as I greater than 0, we are printing each line. So we are starting from the last line, and we are printing all the line in reverse order. These are some of the one-liners, popular one-liners in Awk. This will print all the records. NR equals to 10, print NF, field number NF, field is equal to NF, and print the field. NF greater than 4, NF greater than 4, we are printing. So this is a simple one-liners. If you try these examples which are given in your slides and the sample codes in your source directory. These are some of other online one-liners. I'm sure when you try these examples that will help you, but you need to have similar data. So better is you understand one example which I have given you for missiles data. So for I equal to NF, so these are all one-liners. I don't think I need to explain them, but yes, you can understand them. Then we have regular expressions in Awk. Same, the way we learn regular expressions in SED. Beginning of the line, end of the line, single character, any character, character class, negation of character class, negated character class, range of characters. Point to be noted, we can't have in reverse order. Z to A is not allowed. Alternation, either this or this. 0 or more occurrences of the preceding character plus 1 or more occurrences of the preceding character. Question mark, 0 or 1 occurrence of the preceding character. Same set of regular expressions we discussed in SED are used here as well. Awk also takes command line arguments accessed via built-in ARGC and ARGV, argument count and argument value. Argument count is set of number of command line arguments. Argument value is contains each of the arguments for the command line. For example, if we use awk script file name, argument count is 2, argument 0 is awk, argument 1 is file name. The script is not considered as an argument for awk. Argument count and argument value can be used like any other variable inside the script. This can be assigned, compared, they can be assigned, compared and used in expressions and printed. They are commonly used for verifying that the correct number of arguments were provided. Operators equal to assignment, double equal to equality, not equal, logical and, logical or, logical not, greater than, less than, relational operators, less than equal to, greater than equal to, plus, minus, multiply, divide, modulo, caret symbol, all mathematical operators. Formatted output, printf. We have learned that format specify %d for decimal numbers, %f for floating point numbers, %s for strings, /n for new line, /t for tab. Same the way it is, as I said, no, it is taken from C language. So you will see the resemblance with C at many places. So summary, in this session we took a quick tour to Awk programming language. We explored the number of text processing applications using one-liners and multiple scripts. We also investigated the variety of control form available in Awk inherited from C language, including loop, constructs and conditionals. That's all for this session. I'm sure it helped you to